reunions are we going to go before we just admit that Andy is the one submitting these questions? Because these black names that he keeps on giving, I mean, how many Shaniquas and Taquanishas are there? Like, Andy, come on. These questions are from you, especially that one asking about Marlo's criminal background. Sis, you are the shadiest housewife of them all. Before we get into the review, deep into the review, because, you know, this is the first housewife reunion that has been good all the way through. Like, the first one was really good. That never happens on these reunions. They always give you dull pieces of crap and leave it to like the third or the fourth part. But this has been really good. But before I go any deeper into it and talk a little bit more about what happened, I wanted to discuss something that was a really hot topic in my last review. And that was, I don't know if it's Candy stands and Portia stands going at it. I don't know, whatever it is, but this is the thing. And this is the last time I'm going to say this. I am a fan of the Housewife franchise. I've been watching it for as long as it's been on, and I am a fan of the characters on this show. A person can come on this show, and I will enjoy it, and when they leave the show, I won't bat an eye or think about it, right? The only person who has come on this franchise who I have had a knowledge about and a formed opinion about was Candy. If you watch my reviews from the beginning, I have always stated that this show was beneath her. I do not feel that somebody who has created a fabric of work that was a part of a very intricate part of so many of our lives. You know what I mean? Like, Candy was a part of the 90s era, the 90s hip hop and R&B era of music, which is sealed in time. Like, there has never been another genre since the 90s, 90s R&B and hip hop that has changed the world or impacted so many people as that genre. There's not been nothing since. That we keep on having like these little flashes of this, flashes of that. They don't last. They don't have a history. A lot of these songs out today, nobody's going to be singing them in like 2 years, okay? Everybody knows all the words to What I Need From You Is Understanding. Her voice, that time, those outfits, people were dressing like them. Like, they really changed the game, right? So I already had a formed opinion, and I had her on a certain pedestal because she was somebody who I just held in a very high esteem because of the contribution that she has made to a very important part of my life, to my childhood, to my, you know, was it just childhood? Yeah, just childhood. I was about to say teen years. No, they were going by then. Or whether, you know, she was just, she was a part of a group that was a really important part, right? And it's something that I always go back to and I hold and I cherish. That was the only person I had a opinion about. Outside of this show, I have that same opinion about Candy. I'm looking at this reality TV show as a entertainment entity, which is what it is. Like, I'm also looking at it from somebody who works in the industry, who knows like the real deal. You know what I mean? Guys, they have story editors, they have writers for the show. They are crafting a season for us. I am commenting on the season and saying that they could do better. The writing could be better. The editing could be better. The production quality could be better. Hashtag the Real Housewives of New York, who have less producers and are giving us a better season than each and every housewife season that has premiered this year, okay? Or like 2017. So that is what I'm commenting on. Candy Burris, outside of this show, is a totally different person unto me. I'm commenting on the character that she is playing on the show. I'm commenting on the character that is going along with these storylines. I'm commenting with a character that is consulting with producers before she films a scene. I'm commenting with a character that refilms and reshoots scenes that the cameras were not there for. It's a TV show, guys. They are acting a lot of the times. They get away with calling it reality TV because real moments happen when they're improvising scenes or trying to recreate scenes that the cameras were not there for. That is all that's happening. So when I give my opinion, I'm giving my opinion knowing that I am commenting on a show that is in some kind of refabricated fishbowl. So, in speaking on that, as a viewer and as a fan of the show, I feel like I've seen better seasons. I feel like they could have done a much better season. This franchise, this sect of the franchise is capable of that. They've always had the highest view. The Real Housewives of Atlanta is far above any of the shows, even Beverly Hills. You know what I mean? Although Beverly Hills gets a bigger check, the Real Housewives of Atlanta brings in more people. Okay? Catch, they need to fix that. But anyway, so that's what I'm talking about. The storyline with Kandi and Portia with the whole rape thing and all, to me, it just didn't correlate. It didn't make any sense. I felt like Kandi was responsible, and I think that she is people are siding with her because she's crying. And that is what I was talking about. I feel like people who are not outright criers, or who do not show what we consider weakness right away, become these, like, you know, these villains, these bullies or whatever. But just because I'm not crying and falling apart, just because maybe I'm holding in some anger or some issues and holding true to how I feeling in that moment, just because you don't see me crying does not mean that I'm not right. And I think that's what's happening. Kandi cries every time she feels put in a corner with this situation with Portia, and she is responsible for bringing it to the group. I guarantee you, I can put money on it, that if Kandi and Portia, if Kandi would have left that right there, there would not be any issue. I do not for 1 second believe that people think that Kandi is a rapist. I do not believe that people would have taken that story and made it something bigger than what it is. Her history, her resume, her life on this TV show does not match up. There's no way they could have held or, stuck to it, or, really damaged her brand. It is not believable. Okay, I know a little bit of something about public relations, and that is what Kandi was talking about. She was talking about what the public would think of her brand. She was talking about the PR of this argument, or the gossip getting out, and trying to destroy her brand. Honey, if you doing a gospel song after you were selling dildos at some party on TV did not damage your brand, I guarantee you Portia saying, well, I was told that you and Todd were going to drug me and have your way with me after you were calling her a hoe on national TV, then I think your brand is fine. That is my opinion. My right opinion. Okay. I just don't think that it would have held anyway, and I felt like this was something that Kandi could have killed and moved forward, because this was the main storyline for an entire season, and now they have brought it into another season when there is so much more we could have focused on. That's all I'm saying. We could have focused on multiple storylines, and the season was focused on this argument, this petty argument that was taken back to different girls in the group, only because Kandi was trying to get allies to believe her and go after Portia, because after Portia revealed that and hurt Kandi's feelings, she decided that she wanted to get her fired from the show. That is exactly what happened. It was blown out of proportion. I don't think that it made any sense, and I was done with it. I was just like, this storyline is not that important for us to keep on focusing on. I just didn't think that it was a main storyline that we could have focused on. We could have focused on a lot more going on that last season and this season as well, which is why they got very low views, which is why they got very low ratings, which is why a lot of people checked out early. It's a TV show. I know you all have fans or whatever. I'm not here to burst your bubble, but a lot of it ain't real. Come on, stay woke and get with the program. Enjoy the show, enjoy this commentary, and let's have fun in the comment section. Let's not make it any deeper than what it is, okay? Now let's get into this review. Oh, and as I say that, we get right into this storyline again. I'm just over it. Listen, this is your job. You go to work, you know the storyline, you know the scenes that you were going to film. Shoot the damn scene. Please stop bringing your real life into this show if you are not really going to give us the tea. That is my only issue. The storylines be broken because they get mad when the other one get mad and throw real stuff in it, and then all of a sudden they back it up and they throwing this and they trying to get her fired before she say any more things. I'm done. Give us the storyline that you and the producers agreed on, and let's move forward. I am glad that Portia finally again gave Kandi what she wanted. But the thing about it is, she is saying that apology is backhanded. And then when she's trying to give it, she's making comments. Oh, girl, what you want to say? Say it. It's just like, if you want something and you want me to give it to you a specific way, what I'm trying to do that. Be receptive if this is what you're asking me to do. If you are not receptive of it, then don't ask me to do something. Because Kandi's telling her that she wants her to do this. Portia is trying to do it. Kandi is making comments. The girls are making comments. And it's just like, what do you want? You know what I mean? But Kandi got the right one. She got Portia. She would have never got it from me. Absolutely not, especially if we would not have dealt with the things that she said about her. That's what I'm trying to get y'all to understand, the people who disagree. This is what I'm just trying to get you to understand. They said terrible things about each other. It was an argument. All of these housewives do it. Now, because somebody said something that hit a little harder than the person that they're in an argument with said, like, it's wrong. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. When you are in a battle, especially when you can't use your hands, you got to use your words. The one who used the words the roughest is the winner. That is what it is. Okay? It is a petty argument. It was nothing more, nothing less. It became a huge storyline when it had such little to go on, especially because neither one of them were really trying to go there with it, because as soon as it became a big deal, everybody who was responsible for it tried to bury it. And there was something going on with production that we will never really know, but it was a storyline that didn't work, and I am just disappointed that we're still here with it. Sheree, I'm so disappointed that you actually had a peach and you turned yourself into like a guest or like a co-star with Kim. Like, I don't know, I just felt like the scenes that you were filming and you made it seem like she had a peach and you didn't. Like, you were auditioning to be on the show. You actually had a peach and you allow her to run and recreate this kind of storyline for you. And now it's alleged that you don't even have a job. Wow. Are you the new sweetie? You're giving me sweetie. Marlo, she mentioned something, and I kind of agree. I think that the ladies hit so low sometimes and calling each other like prostitutes, and it's like what we can't do, right, is shame women who have used the oldest trick in the book. You know what I mean? Like, tricking is it's easy to trick men, right? And I feel like because women are ridiculously oppressed, that has been an avenue, a way of getting out of a situation quickly, right? Women make those decisions for whatever kind of reasons, but I think that as women, that is just an insult that just hits so low and hits so hard, because there's probably a lot of women on that stage right now who have made those kind of decisions, and I don't know, I just feel like that's something that we need to just take out of our insults with one another, because it's something that, unless you're trying to go there and like bet it and like end the friendship or relationship or whatever, then like I just feel like we just can't come back from, especially woman to woman. We know what we have to endure, and we know why certain women make those decisions. So I'm glad that the ladies moved on from that. I'm glad that Marlo mentioned that. I'm also disappointed though, because I feel like Marlo, for me, I felt like she was somebody who could read. I felt like she was somebody who could come back with the shade, but on this show, she was just not ready for Kenya. And I was so surprised, because I remember when she came back on the show as a guest, Kenya was very intimidated by her. I don't know what tea that Marlo had on Kenya, but Kenya was shook. Like, she was really trying to like make peace with Marlo, and then all of a sudden something happened. So I don't know if Kenya got tea on Marlo, because Marlo is now acting how Kenya was acting when Marlo first came on the show last season. So it's just really weird how she wasn't there for her read. She wasn't really able to respond to her reads. She was very like, in a sense, kind of docile with Kenya. And I was just like, what does Kenya have on Marlo? Maybe she has more on Marlo concerning John than she was leading on. And when she gave a little bit of that tea about how Marlo tricked out John for some stuff after Nene tricked him out, Marlo shut up, because she was so like kind of muted. Muted Marlo, something I had never seen. But I realized that transition of muted to muted Marlo came after Kenya dropped that tea about John. And I felt like Marlo was just like, she got a little bit more. I'm not getting exposed on national TV. And word on the street is that her billionaire really is Ted Turner. And if she getting supported by Ted Turner, sis, work. Looks great. I'm very happy for her, just to see like just her journey or whatever. I'm also very concerned. Her baby daddy does not seem well. I forget his name. Kevin McCall, great looking guy. Something is not right. The way he's doing like these weird Instagram videos. He's like stalking her on social media, saying very unhealthy things. Even with this Bravo check, get security. Real talk. Real talk. Sis, back out of this lesbian storyline with Cynthia because you don't like him, okay, sis? And I don't need this becoming another storyline of you in a tryst with a woman, allegedly or not. Leave it alone. I know you're having fun and it's cute right now, but please, I'm done. I want you to stick with Dingaling on this show because when you start diving into coochie, it just it ruins the season. You stay straight on the show, please. Bring home a chick and make her cream for that D. Listen. Because word on the street is that second house is where the sex dungeon is. Candy. This is the thing. I don't know. Candy opens up just a little bit of her freak gate and then like closes it. But it's just like, if you gonna open it up on this show where you're like, where parts of your life you're allowing us into, keep that gate closed. If when it gets open, you don't like what comes out of it. You know what I mean? Like, she can do whatever she wants. I don't mind it. But my thing is when she gets, she gets coy all of a sudden when like everything starts coming out. You can't throw out one skeleton after we done seen the 6 already in the closet. Like, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? And also, I can understand why they put this challenge on the cutting room floor because, no tea, no shade, but the D sounds corny. It's the dick. You know what I mean? We want to know what you're going to do for the dick. The D is just, no tea, no shade. It's like a whitewash version just to make it like a, okay to say on national TV in front of viewers. But we say dick. So if you're not going to use a dick in a term, just cut it. Thank you. Production, good call. Andy gets on my nerves because the fact that he was like, Candy, I heard that you have one more. And then when Candy starts reading it, I just something mazel for that D. And Andy's like, girl, you knew it was you. If you don't stop, like you didn't plan this. Andy, sit down. Lord, he wants to be a housewife of Atlanta so bad. Let me tell you something. If Andy could pick any franchise to be a housewife on, it's Atlanta. He loves the heck out of the idea of these broads. I'm telling you, he an Atlanta stan. Don't get it twisted. He don't pay them what they worth, but he's a stan. Just like a makes you feel like I'm telling y'all, I'm not Team Portia. I'm really not. But in this context where she's talking to Cynthia, and Cynthia's just like, well, I can hear it from everybody else, but I can't hear it from Portia. She can't tell me bad news because she talked bad about my husband. You started it. This is my problem with the whole situation with Portia. It's just like the ladies can do all of these things, but Portia can't. And when she does them, it becomes a problem. Now, is it because Portia is younger than them? Like, I don't know what it is, but for Cynthia to make that comment about, Portia can't say this to me because she said a lot of bad things about my husband. Remember when you were the one who was saying all this stuff about Portia's husband and you were the one saying that he was allegedly a homosexual? Like, you were the one saying that he was cheating it. Like, you were bringing up all of these things about Portia and her divorce, and even to her face, even to the women on that season when she was going through hell. What is the big difference? That's my thing. It's like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know, guys. It's just so apparent that Portia cannot do what the women do. And when she mirrors back their behavior, it's like they chastise her. Maybe it is her age. Maybe it's because she's like 10 or 15 years younger than them. That's the case. And I think her and Candy are within the same age range. And I think the only reason why Candy gets a pass is because Candy is more established. She came into the show more established. She'll be more established when the show is over. So I think that's what it is. They don't touch Candy because there's a lot of things about her that is very sacred, especially in the community. You know what I mean? Like, she just has she has connections. She has a resume. She's like she's solidified in history. We'll remember her far before far beyond this reality TV show. And when we do remember her, this reality TV show will probably be the last thing on the list. So maybe that's what it is. But it's just so weird that Cynthia can call that, but Cynthia can't remember when she was talking about Portia getting divorced when she was still married to Pete. Like, I don't get it. It's just weird to me. It's like a double standard that I don't understand. And Portia, no tea, no shade, is too dense to really defend herself the proper way, because I'm sitting here watching it. I'm like, Portia, why don't you throw back to her how she was dragging your divorce when it was happening? Like, why are you not saying these things? Maybe she just doesn't know how to come back. Maybe she's just not quick or witty enough. But I'm like, girl, you have you have a catalog of stuff that they have used to tear you down that is the same exact thing, the same wording sometimes, the same behavior, the same situations. How can you not recall that and bring it back and put it on a platform so that we, the viewers, can properly judge it? The only reason why I know it is because I've watched every season of this show. She need help. You need a reading coach. You need a reading coach. You need a shade coach. You need somebody to be writing for you on these reunions, because I feel like Portia is the only one that doesn't have a writer, and sweetie, you need it. I love how Eva, before she got out of there, made sure she dragged Shamea. And I didn't hear that she was saying that Will was in gay bars. Shamea's just not a good fit for this show, just in my opinion. I feel like I said before, I feel like she's auditioning. I feel like she tries too hard. And there is something about her that she will drag and carry any kind of bone to get camera time. And this time she came for the wrong person. I remember when she did that on that episode with Eva, I did not appreciate that, because the person who she alleged that Eva was sleeping with, we don't know if they're LGBT. They've never said it. So for you to try to like out somebody on TV, whether you thought you were doing that or not, the whole conversation was just disrespectful. You did not know Eva. You were trying to get camera time. You were trying to be messy, and you fell flat, which is why you have not even been invited back to be on this show. Like for the reunion, like they normally bring back prominent people. Shamea wasn't one of them. And I kind of wish she was there to get that dragging from Eva, because then that would have made some great TV. And then I would love to have seen her rebuttal to see if she was actually ready for this show that she's been auditioning for to be on for a very long time. And I know somebody mentioned it, but I do not think for 1 second that she actually had a spot on the show. Shamea is like Notino Shade watching paint dry. She is just not interesting to watch, and that is just my opinion. Even her African husband could not save her. To me, she's just not good reality TV. She might be better in some other aspect, but from what I've seen, it's not enough for me to want to see her on the season of this show. Ever. Did Corey tell Kim that she looked snatch? Wait, what the? Kim was not my favorite on this season, and if you watch my former reviews from last season, I want her back. Kim and Nene were my casting choices. I did not think that Kim was going to be like this. I liked her when she was on the show before. I never watched Tardy for the Party because I don't like Kim by herself. Like I don't think she's interesting, in my opinion, to focus on for an entire show. But I felt like within this cast of girls, it was interesting to watch her. This season, she was just terrible. I don't know what happened. I did hear some tea that the production from her show took over the production of this show, which is probably why it was such a poor season. Because Notino Shade, I've watched her show. It just it wasn't for me. And I feel like you have to have people, if your cast looks a certain way and is of a certain culture, you have to have the people running that looking, or not looking, but who are of that same culture, who get the references, who gets our story. If you're going to take the production from Tardy for the Party, who got that show, and got that demographic and got those viewers, you can't take that same production and put them on Real Housewives of Atlanta, because it's an entirely different demographic, entirely different set of people and cultures, and you gotta be in the know to get the slang, to get the shade, to understand really what's going on this show. And if you don't have those references, if you don't understand what they're saying, and you're just trying to put the show together like you do another show with an entirely white cast, it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? You can't have the same production team running a show with an entirely white cast, running a show with an entirely black cast, because you don't get the community colloquialisms, and I don't know. For me, it didn't read well. So if it is true that the production for Tardy for the Party took over Real Housewives of Atlanta, it makes sense, because this show seemed off, but it also seemed like an extended Tardy for the Party, because it became like all about Kim, and she just got through this season so unscathed. So she seemed like she had some favoritism, and it was uncomfortable to watch, because she was the only white cast member on this show, and she was receiving all of this favor, and she was able to basically do whatever she wanted to do, and the other ladies didn't have that same grace. So, from what it looks like, from what I've seen so far, I don't think that that production is going to be taking over again. I hope not, because they just don't get the show. They don't get the show. They don't get the viewers. They don't understand the culture. They don't get the language. It just doesn't resonate with them. So I don't know what happened with Carlos King. I don't know why he wasn't involved. I did hear, and I just heard, it has not been confirmed, it's just tea at this point, not true tea. I did hear that he was removed because he was responsible for the Portia and Phaedra and Candy drama that happened. It was reported that he was the one who encouraged Phaedra and Portia to bring that like go after Candy and bring like her business out like that, and was feeding them rumors and things of that nature. And Candy didn't like it and refused to come back to the show if he was still a part of it, so he left. And if that's the truth, I honestly get it and I understand. But you need another Carlos King. Like there needs to be there has to be a black person over this show. I honestly prefer a black woman from the South. You know what I mean? You cannot tell me that there are no southern black EPs in Atlanta. I would rather prefer that, because I feel like, you know, even if she's not Southern, I feel like a black woman could really take this show to where it needs to be, because it is a show focusing on black women. And who knows black women better than another black woman? Nobody. Men think they do. Y'all have no idea. So that's what I'm pushing for, because this season was beyond disappointing. But what I was trying to say about Kim before I got sidetracked, although she wasn't my favorite, I love the fact that she stayed true to who she was. She carried that red cup the whole season, and she walked onto that stage in that red dress with that red cup. Sis, work. I'll give you that. She stayed consistent. What's the end game on the lips? Andy. Oh, you are so messy, and you get away with it because you sign these broad checks. You are messy. I don't think that Andy is here for Kim either. I don't know what happened, but like he is taking some digs at her, because first she comes on, he checks her about her lips, then he calls her Sarah Huckabee. I'm like, well, wait a minute, Andy. You got some issues too? Because I think it's two housewives on this show that he has issues with. One is Kim and one is Kenya. He read her last episode, but I feel like this is Kim's time to get read, and she's not ready. Also, I wasn't ready for Cynthia, who was able to come back and forth at Kim and not even like miss a step. Somebody's growing. Proud. I don't really think you have any class, but that's neither here nor there. Shade. Now, this is the thing that I don't like, right? But I realize it's a TV show and they got to keep us coming back to next week. But I don't like bringing Kim on at the end and then it starts like gearing up and then they like cut it off and give us a preview for next week. As soon as Kim sits down, they are ready to read her for filth, but they got to wait in line because Andy is already doing it. So they start going into it, and then like Kim makes up this lie that she didn't take a picture of Nene's car. Then the shady Bravo editors like show the scene of her showing the picture to Sheree, and I really feel bad for Sheree. Like, I do think that she is absolutely responsible for her actions, but I'm like, you linked up with the one person that everybody, the fans and the cast members, could not stand this entire season, and because of that, your check is cut. Like, it's, man, you sided with the wrong person. Portia sided with Phaedra, and at least, you know, she was able to get herself out of it. You were not able to dig yourself out of it because you were so prideful and you stayed in the mud with Kim, and now the both of y'all gone. How unfortunate. Anyway, that's where it ends. I'm looking forward to next week for this with Andy in the middle in the hands. I'm also looking forward to Where Is Your Scooter? The next and final episode of the reunion, I think is going to be excuse me, I think it's going to be really good. I think this is the best reunion that I've seen from the Real Housewives franchise. I think the editing was really great. I think the questions was really great, although we know that Andy wrote them. Andy is Shaniqua and Taquanisha and Amy from Idaho. He all of them chicks. Those are the questions that Andy wants to get to. I think what Andy doesn't see in the season, when you watch it, he prepares his questions and asks that at the reunion to get unanswered questions for a lot of things. So it's fairly good. Like, I really did enjoy it. I'm looking forward to the final episode of the reunion. I'm also looking forward to the new cast because I feel like there's going to be a huge recasting. I'm hopeful that we'll get a better production team. Not saying that, you know, the production wasn't top notch, but the production for this show, I just feel like did not understand the cast or the viewers of this particular show. And I think that needs to be revamped as well, along with the cast. And I am hopeful that we're going to see it. I really, really do, because this is a big show, and I don't think they want to lose all that money that this show brings in. Anyway, that's where it ends. I thoroughly had a good time reviewing and watching this show and reacting to it or whatever, just like I did last week. I'm really impressed by the reunions. And if you are impressed by this review, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see you next week for the concluding episode of the Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion. See you then, guys. Bye.